From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Jillian Michaels. Plus, Bald Bryan returns for a recap of last night's Oscars. And now, a man who is annoyed by everything, everywhere, all at once. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the church. We're going to get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Bald Bryan in studio for a little Oscar recap. Chris Mack Zapata as well.
Good to be back. Good to see you.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, lots to get into.
What'd you do?
First off, all right.
Were you there?
No, I went to Byron Allen's Oscar party, which was a big gala at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel in the Grand Trianon room.
Yeah.
And I always love going to the Grand Trianon room.
Is that where they have the Golden Globes? Or am I totally off on that?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry. I derailed you. Go ahead.
That's all right. I'm not sure. Not sure if they hold that. I don't think so, but I don't know.
Okay.
But the Grand Trianon, I've done Bob Saget's scleroderma charity event there once. I've done a few events there. I always like it because when I used to clean carpets for Art Fuss, that was one of our accounts. One of our accounts was the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. We would do the Grand Trianon, and we do the Pink Turtle, which was a diner, which is now where Cut is.
Oh, wow.
And
quite the upgrade.
I love Cut. The problem
It's
with
a high-end steakhouse there.
yes. The problem with Cut is the very first time I went there years ago.
Puck's place.
Yes, they offered this thing that was delectable. It was like this fresh seasonal corn shucked right off the cob with the butter and the salt and the pepper on the plate. That's what they offered. And I was like, this is the most magnificent side I've ever gotten. You know, you go to the steak place, you get the cream spinach.
Or even cream corn.
Or cream corn, or you get the baked potato, whatever. It's all fine, but it's not this. First time I went, that's what I got. Every single time I've been back, I'm like, I want that corn. They're like, out of season. Out of season. Like
corn is out of season.
Wolfgang's a purist, man.
It existed. It was the best side I've ever ordered at a steakhouse ever. Every time I go back, I go, that's what I want. And every time they're out of it.
Wow.
So there's that. So now the Grand Trianon. Now the Grand Trianon is the big ballroom, and I used to clean their carpet. And we would be there from midnight till like 5 a.m, just cleaning acres of carpet in this giant ballroom. And the juxtaposition between, me at 18 and a half with the beat up van in the parking lot and where they filmed Pretty Woman. Mm-hmm. It was, all the chairs with, the velvet upholstery and stuff.
Patting on the arms.
Like, what events must take place here, but not for me. I would be the poorest person ever enter his room. And I just stare at that shampooer just cleaning for hours on end. So whenever I get to go back to the Grand Trianon, it's always MacArthur returning to the Philippines.
Nice.
I always tell the person next to me at the table I'm eating at, and they go, "Yeah, there you go." That doesn't mean anything to them. But
are you worried about the carpet now? Are you watching people eating?
Always an eye on the carpet.
Yeah.
Always. Once a carpet man, always a carpet man. It's like you never stop being a mother.
Sure.
I'm that way with carpet.
I'm with you.
So I'm sitting there, and I got. It was all I could do to get Natalia into the Oscars sort of last minute. What I did is I kicked the can down the road with the Oscars. So Natalia wanted to go to the Oscars. I was like, yeah, we'll get that set up. But I wasn't really working on jokes or anything for the Oscars at that point. Maybe 2-3 weeks out. And so I said, I'll see if you can get a ticket. But I didn't want to ask for tickets before I'd worked on it. I just felt weird. So I felt like, I wish more people would adopt that ethos.
Yeah, you
I
want to
don't
have
want
some sort of spiritual exchange.
Yeah, I don't want to
you know?
ask for
Yeah.
shit until I contribute something. So at some point, I talked to Jimmy, maybe at the Super Bowl party, a few weeks out, and I said, about a month out. And it was funny. I was just sitting next to him on that Sunday, and I said, 1 month. 1 month. We're 1 month out. And he's like, from what? And I'm like, oh, the Oscars. And he was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, what an attitude.
It's a month from today. So I said, well, why don't you, what do you need help with? What are we doing here? What's the plan? And he said, I got all the jokes in the world. But what I do want is I'm just going to send you everything, and then you mark it up. You tell me, what you think of each joke. Put a number by it. So
Be a joke sommelier.
yeah, so he gave me a pile of jokes, probably 30 pages of jokes.
I'm picturing physical pages.
He sent over a file. They got printed out.
Yes.
I took the file on the road, and when we were in Baltimore, I just sat down in the lounge of the hotel we're at, and I just marked them all up.
Rated them.
I didn't really. I went from like 6 to 9. I didn't really.
Nice.
I didn't throw any 2s in there. I didn't know which ones were Jimmy's
that's a good
jokes.
point.
I then marked up 30 pages. I then sat home, marked up the rest or something. Then I found myself sitting in my office. Now we're like 2 weeks out of the Oscars, and I say to Jimmy, I got all these pages marked up. And he says, good, thanks, send them over. And I said, yeah, I will. And then I went to Sonny, and I said, Sonny, I got this big file here.
Oh, your courier service.
Yeah, how do I put a number on this file and then send it to Jimmy? And then he went, I don't know. So, I told the story, yeah. Someone's
I
telling
haven't
me.
heard it.
Yeah, well... Then, it's the part where Natalia ran it, physically put it in a manila envelope and drove it to his house.
Threw it over his fence.
Threw it over the fence.
Oscar ticket.
Yeah. So then...
Who's credited as a writer last night?
Then I talked to Jimmy, I don't know, a week out or something, and he said, he said, all right, now I got it pretty well locked off, but there could be some words or some changes
Some
or some
phrasing.
tweaks or some things, and we need some Tom Cruise jokes too. So I wrote some Tom Cruise jokes, and I tweaked a few things, and that I was able to do and send back in the file form. And then I realized it was pretty much the day before the Oscars, and I hadn't asked for a ticket for
You are
Natalia.
Kind of close.
Yeah, under the wire.
Yet. So I didn't want to bug Jimmy, so I hit up Dixon, Baby Doll, but then Baby Doll looped Jimmy in, and the next thing you know, we got his assistant and everything, and I felt stupid
Everyone's
because
getting involved now.
everyone's getting involved now, and it's just to get Natalia an Oscar ticket. We're able to wrangle a ticket, then lots of talk about the governor's ball. That was day of.
Oh, wow. I saw a picture on social media of her on the champagne carpet. She looked great. I assume she had a great time.
She had a great time. Sent me a picture of her and Baby Doll and Jimmy after the show. She sat with Cleto and Jimmy Gentleman. It was funny. I was trying to text. Natalia was like, who am I sitting with? And I'm like, you'll be sitting with Cleto, the band leader. And then I started to write, and Jimmy. And then I went, no, that's going to be confusing.
Yeah.
So then I wrote, and Jimmy Gentleman. And then I realized she's not going to make sense of that
weird too. Yeah.
either.
I don't know who that is.
That's Jimmy's best friend from the old school
All right.
Nevada. Guy's name is Jimmy Gentleman.
What a
And he's a
name.
perfect gentleman. And
It's not an ironic nickname.
so then I
Is he a
started
mob?
getting into, you're going to be sitting with Cleto and Jimmy Gentleman, who's Jimmy's friend.
Okay.
And then I realized that's pretty wordy too. So I just went, you're sitting with Jimmy's friends. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Perfect.
They'll shepherd you around. So evidently they did. Now I went to Byron Allen's and we're walking the red carpet, And I was walking the red carpet. You got to talk to CBS. You got to talk. But at some point at the end of the carpet, you just get the goofball dude with the iPhone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And it's...
I've been at the end of the carpet.
Yes, something you've never heard of. And so we're standing there.
I'm from Wow News.
Yeah, right. Right. This is Bob from Wow News. And you know, they never know what they're doing because they go, hey, it's Bob from Wow News, and I'm standing with... And then they put the mic in your face because they don't know who you are either. And it's way too much work for them to commit your name to memory before the show starts. So you always tell when they push the mic over to your face, that just means lack of prep. But anyway.
Professionalism dwindles as you move down the carpet.
Right. But now I'm standing there with
CBS or
Bob of Wow News, and I can hear the Oscars starting from inside of the ballroom, which is up on many Megatron screens. And now I'm like, all right, move it along because I want to see the monologue. I want to know what jokes made the cut. I want to know if I got my Tom Cruise joke in there.
For you, that's like most people wait for Best Picture. Like you want to see the opening monologue.
It's all about the monologue for me. So I'm standing there, and I got to talk to one more guy. This guy's Sam from Pow News. And I'm standing here with, and he's holding the mic, and I'm like, I'm hearing that it has started. Jimmy's out there. I want to know what the hell's going on out there. So I force my way through. And then I stand there, and I probably caught the second half of it. Sadly, lots of laughs. Monologue went great.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was a great monologue. Lots of laughs. At least the half that I saw. I could just barely hear the first half.
First half was great, too.
It was all backloaded with jokes.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to see the first half yet, even. So I don't know. I saw the second half. Then we sat down, and I walked into the place, and they were like, "You're table 7, and get your bracelet from." And I was like, "I'm just going to stand off to the side and watch the monologue." But people kept coming up to me, going, "Your table is over here," and I'm like, "Just leave me alone. I'm just going to stand here next to the wine cart and watch the monologue."
Coincidentally, next to the wine cart.
I want to know how these jokes are going. And so at some point, I sat down, and I spot Dave Winfield.
Oh, hard to miss.
Hard to miss. Although when he's sitting, he looks pretty normal. He's Dave Winfield was a Yankee slugger, probably in the Hall of Fame.
He is. He drafted by the Padres, and I think in either football or basketball. He was like a multi-sport star, as a young man.
12-time All-Star.
12-time All-Star.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone recognized him, but I walked up to him, and I regaled him with this story that was kind of funny because I was watching Jimmy up at the Oscars at the same time I was looking at Dave Winfield. At the same time I was thinking about that story from many years ago when Jimmy and I played at Comiskey Park, where the White Sox play for the Hollywood MTV Rock and Jock, I don't know, All-Star game. Okay. Celebrity All-Star before the All-Star game. I don't know, Chris, look it up. The Major League Baseball All-Star game must have been played in Chicago in like 2004 or something. I can't quite recall. Maybe it was even earlier.
Well, if it was you and Jimmy, it would have been Man Show era, right? So like 99 to 01, 02?
Well, we were like separate celebrities at some point. Okay. We might show up to a thing just because he got invited and I got invited.
Okay. 2003.
All
2003. Right. And so there we were, and we got to the ballpark, and that was the one I was playing out in left field at night, and that's why I was kind of told you guys about the kind of pressure of having a big crowd, and routine flies aren't routine anymore.
I robbed
Brian McKnight, but I was just telling that story, but I remember sitting in the dugout, and I said, the pitcher for our team was the miniature girl from the little petite blonde from The Bachelor, from the first year of The Bachelor, whatever her name was. It's just a little miniature blonde person. Well, they always take the chicks and they make them pitch, which is horrible strategy because it adds an hour and 45 minutes to every game because they can't find the plate.
It's horrible for a lot of reasons. Number one, comebackers. Number two, a lot of infield action in those softball games.
Right. They need to lose them out in right field, but don't shove or don't pitch them. So she's pitching. So I say to Jimmy, man, if Dave Winfield connects with this softball, which is pretty hard, and hits a comebacker, he's going to kill her with that ball. She'll disintegrate. She'll go up like when the big unit hit that bird.
The bird, that's
just
right.
Poof.
Poof.
Which is going to be, all we're going to see is a poof, and there's going to be blonde hair slowly coming back down to the ground. Just a cloud of blonde, and then back to the ground. And then we'll put a plaque in front of the mound. And so I said to Jimmy, he's going to kill her if he hits a comebacker. And then Jimmy said, the pros, they don't take full swings. And I said, I don't know. These guys are athletes.
They have one mode.
There's 30,000 people watching. Yeah. They're not choking up. They are taking full cuts. And he's like, they're not. They're just here for fun. They're just gonna choke up, take half swings or whatever. I was like, okay. I was playing left field. Dave Winfield came up. He hit the fucking ball so hard that I didn't even step back as the left fielder. I just watched this softball. They'd set up the medium fence. It was 60, 100, 80 feet in front of the actual fence because it was a softball game. I was standing out in left field. Dave Winfield comes up. I move back. I'm standing about 20 feet from the fence. He hits the ball. I don't even move. I just look up, and this thing goes way over the short-term fence and hits the warning track and one hops the actual fence. He hits the ball 327 feet.
That's a real sign of disrespect to your pitcher.
Right. So I was like, anyway, so I take a picture of Dave Winfield. So I go over to Dave Winfield's table. Yeah, last night. And I say to him, I got to tell you this story. And he's like, I don't fuck around, man. Put that bat in my hand. I'm swinging. I said, you goddamn right you did. And his
6'5" professional athlete.
Yes.
He's going to mash the ball.
So he crushed. I tell him that story, and he has a laugh. Then I decide to conduct an experiment, which is, if I send Jimmy a text during the Oscars about Dave Winfield, will he get back to me while the Oscars are still going?
It's quite an experiment you want to run mid-Oscars.
Oh, totally, because Jimmy is a guy who is fastidious when it comes to communication. Like, I've emailed him a couple of times in the past, little on me. He gets back to me right away. It's one or two words, like fuck off, lose my email, whatever it is. But it's, he's very quick on the communique.
Yeah, Dr. Drew's the same way. It's a habit I see with certain people.
Yes, I don't possess that gene, but Jimmy does. But will he do it during the Oscars? So I first experimented a little bit earlier in the day. It was like 1:30, and the Oscars are at 5. I know he's there. I know he's getting into his tuxedo and stuff, but so I sent him a text. I'm like, the jokes are great. They're strong. Don't worry about the jokes. Like, they're great jokes. You're going to crush it. Love you, buddy. And I write, don't reply. Just telling you, jokes are good. I'm thinking about you.
For your eyes only.
He writes back 10 seconds later. Love you too. I said, okay, that's sweet. That's sweet. So now I'm curious. Does he respond during the Oscars and with Dave Winfield?
What do you think, Brian?
I say yes. I say there was actually a lot of downtime for Jimmy. The first hour of the show after the monologue, I don't think I saw him once.
But you think he's checking his phone?
Yes.
Well, now you got to go get my phone, or some Dawson or Ben, go run and grab my phone, because I think it was after that first hour.
Okay. Even better.
As I recall. But anyway, so now thank God you guys sat and watched the Oscars because people were eating, people were talking. My back was whatever.
Yeah, that's not an environment to really study what's going on.
No, I literally missed half the monologue talking to Pow News, and then I sat down and had people talking to me the whole time, and I really missed a good chunk of it. So you guys can break it down. I'm turning my phone on, but we'll find it. But Brian, you can tell us your sort of overall thoughts.
Yeah, let me just recap real quick. Maybe Chris has the info, but I actually wrote this down, so I should read it. It was a great night for Everything Ever All at Once. 7 wins at the Oscars. A true sweep. They won Best Picture, Best Director, or Best Directors in this case. Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Screenplay, and Editing all went to Everything Everywhere All at Once. The third film to ever win 3 acting Oscars in the same year after A Streetcar Named Desire and Network. And the first film since West Side Story to have a duo win Best Directors.
Huh.
I can keep going.
Keep going.
It was of course, Brendan Fraser won Best Actor. We should talk about that because I think last time I was here when I talked about or mentioned that he was a slight favorite, you said you hoped he would win because he would be a great blubbering crier. And
yes.
He was. He was a good blubbering crier. And a fun fact, the production company A24, which makes a lot of Oscar movies, a lot of really good movies, won all 4 acting categories because they produced The Whale and they produced Everything Ever All at Once.
Yeah, A24 had a really big year. That's like the new indie powerhouse.
They've been
right?
they're the new Miramax, from the 90s. They've been churning out quality films for probably close to a decade now. And All Quiet on the Western Front outperformed 4 Oscars, including Best International Feature. Yeah. Themes this year, I guess, unlikely winners, comeback stories. There were some real nice feel-good stories. Brendan Fraser, of course, Best Supporting Actor.
Sorry.
No,
I got the text.
Okay.
I meant to text Dixon.
Okay.
This. So I wrote, Dave motherfucking Winfield, have fun sucking Spielberg's dick. And then, but I sent that to Jimmy.
Okay.
He sent a picture out, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he wrote, ha, 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 please tell Dave I said hello.
During the Oscars.
Well, I don't know how do you do the time?
Yeah, you pull it. Just pull it.
Chris will do the time.
Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, you send him that picture 6:28 p.m. Pacific.
Prime time.
Yeah. And he wrote back at 7:05 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, that is
I said hello.
That's prime time in the Oscars right there.
Yeah, he even
We're barely 2 hours in.
I meant to send that to Dixon.
All right, so he's on his phone. I would not be on my phone if I were him, but that's part of his process. He's relaxed, and I thought he just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah,
he did.
So his monologue was excellent. So the show, by the way, ran like 3.5 hours long. It was long.
It was a long show. Back to classic times.
Yeah, at the beginning of the show, Kim was like, "Look, we're including every category this time. We're not leaving anyone out and doing a previously awarded."
Well, because infamously last year they had taken some of the lesser celebrated categories and done them before the Oscars.
Yeah,
and then aired the highlight essentially during the ceremony. Felt a little clunky. I'm glad they came to their senses.
Right. Yeah. I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, good. We should honor these people and celebrate them for winning
their
these
Oscar
awards.
is the same as
it's
exact same as Bryan Fraser's Oscar.
But then as the show's going, I was like, hey, this is getting kind of long. There's a lot of categories here. 23 categories presented live on air.
Wow.
But what I liked is they doubled up on some. Right, same presenters just hit one speech.
Oh yeah.
Go to the next one. So Kimmel, he by the way, the whole thing started with his montage of movie clips and then went into Top Gun, which is that the best theme to just hype you up? The doo 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 doo.
That's a real windfall of cash for that guy who wrote that song.
Was Tom Cruise not there?
No, he wasn't. And he
there.
was actually Kimmel said something about that.
I just remember I wrote like 9 Tom Cruise jokes and not even there.
Yeah, really good.
Last minute thing. The news broke that he wouldn't be there.
Right.
Yeah, I think we thought he was going to be there.
He did do a joke. He said something about the beach scene in Top Gun. And he said, "Oh, L. Ron Hubba Hubbard."
Yeah. That was funny. Yeah, I got a big laugh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a lot to get to, so we'll take a quick break and we'll get into it, including a joke, a bit that we had on this show that kind of made it into the Oscars. We'll do that right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. I don't know. I hope you guys are going to the one on the corner. I used to go there when I was young and doing all my own wrenching, and I still go there now that I'm old and farm out some of the wrenching. It is O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's O Rewards bonus points month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Shop in store or online. Get points and rewards sent straight to your phone or your inbox. You can get 2, 3, or even 4 times the bonus points on select purchases. To get you to your next reward even faster, receive a $5 reward for every 150 O Rewards points. And if you're already an O Rewards member and not receiving the rewards, just add your email or mobile phone number and get a $10 reward just for updating your existing account. And you sign up. And it's quick and it's easy. Just go to O'ReillyAuto.com, O'ReillyAuto.com, or do it in a store. That's an O'Reilly store.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Clearwater, Florida. A 44-year-old woman was arrested for domestic battery after an argument in which she hit her husband with a plate of spaghetti. Definitely not a Jew.
All right, back with Bald Bryan, Max Pat. We're doing our Oscar roundup roundtable. And we can go through Brian's thoughts, Chris's thoughts.
Yeah. So, as I said, it opened with the Top Gun thing. Kimmel parachutes in, or they made this contraption where it looked like he parachuted down onto the stage. There was a flyover.
There was a live flyover,
which is kind of cool.
Oh, really?
Like a sporting event.
Yeah,
wow.
right over the theater. And they cut to it outside. The monologue was great. As I said, we went over some of the jokes. The big jokes were addressing the slap from last year. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, here's a little bit of Kimmel addressing that.
Want you to have fun. We want you to feel safe. And most importantly, we want me to feel safe. So we have strict policies in place. If anyone in this theater commits an act of violence at any point during the show, you will be awarded the Oscar for Best Actor.
That's good. Really? Always good to give us at the Oscars.
And permitted to give a 19-minute long speech.
Good.
That's a great joke.
Yeah. So and then...
By the way, the best jokes are always true. They have to be true. That was 100% true. What happened?
I don't know if you have it, Chris, but he tagged that joke with the great one about, like, perhaps he'll even hug the assailant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a nice tag.
Yeah, and then he went on saying, like, about the crisis team we talked about, but he used all the actors in the, like, oh, yeah, Michael B. Jordan is Creed, and Michelle, who'll kick your ass too, and Guillermo. So that was the monologue, excellent, just classic, roasty, address people in the crowd, and seemed super comfortable up there. So
yes.
I wonder, Jimmy's a seasoned performer who's hosted a late night talk show since 2003 or whatever it's been. Adam, do you think there is and the Oscars, right? Like, by the time you get to year 3, are you a little more settled in? Is a little more not routine, but you know what I mean? You've got your groove. You know the beats. You know the rhythm, whatever it is. Because Jimmy seemed especially. Not that he ever felt uncomfortable, but he felt especially comfortable, if that makes sense.
Very at ease. Yeah. I mean, I think there's 2 parts of doing an event. One part is you have to stand there and then you have to deliver and you have to, your timing and the jokes and all that. Yeah. Then the other part is just a familiarity. Like, where are we? What do I do? Where do I turn? Like, there's just a part that is... It's like driving a rental car, which is like I'm driving Natalia's car now. I turn my car in, and this Mercedes has the gear shift up on the console.
Oh, yeah. Chris does too. You got to click it up and down.
Yeah. I'm driving down the freeway at 60 miles an hour. I think I'm turning the wipers
wipers on,
on,
I've done
and
the
I'm
same
putting
thing.
the thing in neutral, and I'm like, I'm coasting.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying because I think I'm going to throw it in reverse at 65, and the
blow the engine
transmission's
up.
just going to blow out of the exhaust pipe. But
What do the Germans have in mind?
they're trying to kill us. So
Not
but
again.
there's a muscle memory part of things that is all I can tell you is I get in Natalia's car, I know how to drive. I'm fine with how to drive. I'm not so familiar where I've put it into neutral a few times it's been nonstop rain. So I think I'm turning the wipers on. Sure. I'm not turning the wipers on. I'm putting the car in neutral. So there's that part of it, which doesn't mean I don't know how to drive. It means I don't really know this car. But then at a certain point, after you drive this car for a number of miles, now you know the car and you already knew how to drive. So now I think with Jimmy, you're seeing him go, now I know the car. And that's why, and all the prep that leads into it, it's a labyrinth of halls and rooms and elevators and stuff behind, just literally finding the stage
nuts and bolts,
the nuts and the bolts of it. So I think he's completely comfortable with it now. And it's funny because he's not a stand-up comedian, but he's totally comfortable, obviously, standing there. He's also a guy that if you put it in the prompter, he will deliver it. And he knows that. And some people are not good with the prompter. He's very good with the prompter, always has been. Yeah. So,
question for you then. So I as objectively as I can, I think Jimmy's hosted 3 times really well, each time better than the last. Is it weird that your friend, your personal friend, is now up there with some of the best Oscar hosts? Billy Crystal's probably the best modern day, example of Oscar host. I think Jimmy's as good as it gets these days. I would like to see him host in perpetuity. He's really good.
I would too, and
but that's surreal though.
But the thing about Jimmy is he brings a work ethic that most comedians don't have, and because he's not a comedian, so to speak, he's a worker. So but
he has a unique skill, which is the hosting of the late night show.
Yes.
Deliver the joke,
Yes.
Traffic cop this, do that.
But the
this.
prep is where he really excels. The bits and the ideas and all that. And
he picked good jokes. I mean, I would say percentage-wise, he batted well over 500.
You know what the proof is? Every year after the Oscars, it's just on social media, it's a litany of, oh, that sucked, oh, this was lame, oh, next year I got to change it up. I haven't seen a single one of those aside from maybe people who are a little more invested in a narrative. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like the general public has that reaction.
No,
and I agree with that.
Yeah, everyone seemed to love it.
Yeah. So the end of the monologue. So as I said, he said the show's going to be kind of long because we're doing all the categories. So we're going to need all these acceptance speeches to really keep it moving.
Right.
And so we have the clip of him at the end of the monologue kind of explaining that and what they're going to do.
That doesn't mean we don't want to hear you speak. We do. We want your speeches to be moving. We also want to keep it moving. So the speech goes on too long. This year we're not going to play you off stage. Instead, we have a group of performers from the movie RRR who are going to dance you off stage. If you go too long, we're going to Bollywood gong show your ass. So let's get this going. Please welcome our first presenters of the night, Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt.
I like they're actually pushing them.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what that bit was, but...
you haven't seen RRR, have you?
No. Is it a pirate movie?
Yeah, that's good. No.
I pirated RRR.
It's a fun movie. It's long. It's 3 hours plus, but it's a fun movie.
Is it a Bollywood movie?
It's not technical. I don't think it's whatever. It's an Indian film.
Yeah.
So I sent Jimmy my "you should do ranchero music" bit. What do we have that bit somewhere? Or we were talking about, I don't know, a month ago or something, which was, when was this?
This
is a month ago?
Yeah, January 17th, 16th.
Yeah, so what's the date today? Over a month ago.
A month and a half. 2 months ago.
The default should just be ranchero music. That's it.
Or shut the mic, like they used to do in the old days.
Yeah, they just shut it off. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Oh, all right. Well, I thought we'd have some music and stuff.
Check out the Water Cooler podcast, please.
All right. I know everyone always thinks I'm kidding about everything. If you did ranchero music, the audience would look forward to it. It'd be funny.
It would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious. It'd kind of become like Night at the Apollo with the Sandman.
Yes.
A drinking game at home.
Yeah, like the guy's fucking up the song and he comes out there with the broom, you know. You'd kind of hope some blowhardy celebrity went long.
You never know when it's going to come.
Yeah.
They mess
The
with
Gong
it a little
Show.
bit.
That's right.
The Gong Show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there'd be prop bets like Jodie Foster's 3-1 for ranchero music. You know, she wins. Right? You'd have to pick blowhardy celebrities. Susan Sarandon may be an odds-on favorite. Like, she's even money for the ranchero music if she wins the thing. If she wins the statue for the Lesbian Nun movie, Vegas says it's a coin toss whether we get the ranchero music or not.
This will certainly be a fun pitch for you to pitch Jimmy for the Oscars then.
Oh,
yeah.
Write that down.
Yeah, that's good.
From your mouth to God's ears. All right, you can go to AdamCarolla.com. All right.
You know what I just realized?
Didn't we
about
play the music somewhere in that clip?
No, we talked about it. That's where you initially came up.
So I was like,
Genesis.
yeah. So, we played it the next day, I think. Yeah. So I did pitch it to him, and then he sent me back the RRR thing, and he was like, "We're already doing it," or some version of it.
Yeah, he always kind of addresses that, right? Remember, like one time he said, "Oh, short of speech, you get this jet ski."
That's right. They're offering
Prizes.
minimal prizes for millionaires.
Yeah.
The problem with playing off, I just realized this now, is that I don't know if you guys saw this. They played off maybe 3 or 4 people, but they never play off the blowhard celebrities. Like the people who are, going on and on. They let them go on and on. They play off the documentary filmmaker or the person who did the short animated movie. It's like, this is their once in a lifetime opportunity to get on this stage and be at the Oscars, and they're playing them off. And it's like they let whoever else go on forever.
I have some of those clips actually because a lot of those groups, it's more than one person coming up for the Oscar. So if you are in a group winning an Oscar, be the first
Never
person
be the second.
that speaks. Because if you're the second, you're walking up to that mic, you get the first 3 words and before they cut it off. Because they were
that happened more than
swift
once
and cunning with the playoff music and muting that microphone.
Yeah, they clipped a few.
Yep.
Now it's time for my partner, who we made this talk.
The hair and makeup lady got cut off. A few people did.
Yeah. Do we have that?
Yeah, let's do the whale girl getting played off because from I think that was the hair and makeup.
Oh, hair and makeup. Yeah,
Yeah.
they won for hair and makeup.
All right. Well, we'll find that clip.
Yeah, and here we go.
Our producers, the studio, A24, and the Academy. Thank you so much.
So he's been going on for 30 seconds.
Right.
Here comes girl number 2.
Thank you, Darren.
The music.
Brutal.
When is she ever going to be up there again?
Elephant Whisperer, same thing.
Right.
That's so mean. Short fucking documentary. This is terrible.
Is it better to get clipped right at the top or let her get 10 seconds in and then clip her?
Clip her at the top. 'Cause,
Yeah.
if you're midway through and you're about to say
That's
your kids'
brutal.
names and you get clipped. But yeah, the Elephant Whisperer one is pretty good too.
And the In Memoriam had Lenny Kravitz. I was like, oh,
I liked it.
This is ruined
You didn't like-
for me.
you didn't like
No,
that
I thought it
performance?
was good.
Oh.
I thought it was good. There's something about Lenny Kravitz that I hate. Number one.
This is the most I've ever liked him.
I just hate him. Yes, it's the most I've ever liked him. And number 2, the In Memoriam with the dude wearing the blackout shades and the nose ring, I don't know, feels
Too hip.
Like this is, it's sort of like saying, look, when you go to the wake or the funeral, whatever, you got to toss on a black suit. You can't show up in your Clippers hoodie. Like it just doesn't. It's not really appropriate. Like Lenny Kravitz didn't have to be Lenny Kravitz out for that.
Yeah.
Like leather pants, dark glasses, whatever.
If he's presenting, maybe, but
Maybe.
not anymore.
Yeah, Memoriam, I kind of want him in just a black suit.
I thought that was subtle for Lenny Kravitz. Yeah, because he was just sunglasses. It was like a black outfit, black piano, really dark stage. It wasn't really focused on him.
Did he have the nose hoop in though?
Oh yeah.
Is that what he's wearing when he was played too?
Prominently displayed.
Shirt undone, giant crucifix. I
That's
don't
pretty
know.
subdued for Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, that's
I
Lenny.
think.
That's mournful Lenny.
Yes. I don't
grieving
know.
Lenny.
The dudes with the nose hoop or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but if
maybe
we're
it's
talking the performances, so that was, I
Yes,
actually
that was
really
good.
enjoyed that performance. Just the
Yes.
piano, bass player, it was kind of a groove. The In Memoriam was beautiful. Do you see John Travolta introing it?
Got a little choked out.
That one hit pretty hard. Let's watch that.
Well, because the first person I think on there was Olivia
of course,
Newton-John.
yeah. So John Travolta presented the In Memoriam, and here's him getting a little choked up.
They've touched our hearts. They've made us smile and became dear friends who we will always remain hopelessly devoted to.
I got the chills again. Yeah. So, and then Lenny went on to play.
Adam, talk about Travolta's sexuality being burdensome.
Burdensome. I always
Still
forget
alive,
that
still
word.
alive at that.
I forgot the word burdensome. Yes, I announced that once. Well, though I forgot about it immediately, but Ball Bryan never
I love
had.
it so much.
Well, speaking of In Memoriam, just a couple of snubs that, of course, Brian always likes the who was left out.
And Hayes, right?
And Hayes.
Famously, yeah.
Tom Sizemore.
Yeah, but he just died.
He just died. Well,
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a second. And Paul Sorvino left off.
Oh,
how
shit.
the hell
That's
did
a
Paul-
big
what?
one. No, pun intended. That's a heavy one.
Yeah. So those three left off. And then Kimmel made a really good Robert Blake joke, which I loved.
So before we get to that, do you guys, speaking of fat guys blubbering, do you guys remember when Mira Sorvino won for Best Supporting Actress?
Yes.
And Paul Sorvino was a mess.
A
He was
mess.
just blubbering tears.
Oh, that was like Italian Papa at his at
so
the height of his powers.
Beautiful tribute.
Sorry, didn't mean to derail.
Well, no, it's okay. Please. So this is Kimmel addressing the Robert Blake passing.
Now it's time for the interactive part of the show. Everybody, please get out your phones, even at home. It's time to vote. If you think Robert Blake should be part of the In Memoriam montage, text "Give me a Blake" to the number on your screen, or to any number. Text that to your mother if you like. Message and data rates may apply. All right, from Glass
Yeah,
Onion,
that's it.
please
That's
welcome
that's how they addressed it.
But what is the cutoff for the In Memoriam? Wait, Sizemore wasn't in there.
Correct. I don't think there is a cutoff because I've seen people who've died
Been pretty late.
and they
They've
make sure they're in it.
Someone in the last 3 years died like a week before the Oscars, and they got him in. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they were able to make it happen. So it might have been more about Sizemore's circumstances, which is too bad because he was great in some great movies.
Like if Brad Pitt died 3 hours before the
They'd get it
Oscars, he
in
would be
there.
in that In Memoriam.
I don't get it. I mean, is there a length issue with the song? I mean, there's always publicists you've never heard of and sound engineers.
And they double up on some of the slides too,
They can
so you
easily
can
do that.
You can
Right.
make it work. It's just people get overlooked. I mean, a lot of people die. So.
Yeah, but I mean, Sizemore
missing
was in
those
some
guys.
great movies.
And they're in the news. So if you are in charge of this In Memoriam segment and you see on your Twitter feed the number one trending topic is Tom Sizemore just died, you should think, I got to add that guy
They should
in.
be
well, how
probably.
does Paul Sorvino not make it
That's
in?
shocking to me, actually. Normal, I could have predicted Anne Hayes because she died under, the circumstances that she died under and all that stuff. Paul Sorvino was a kind of a legend of the game.
Yeah, his widow demands an apology
Wow.
for leaving him out. Yeah.
From
I'm actually
Kimmel?
really surprised.
Yeah,
For Lenny Kravitz?
Lenny, Kimmel, John Travolta.
Anyone involved.
Yeah, Lenny Kimmel. That would be the ultimate host. Rock and roll. Lenny Kimmel. I don't know who that is. I just made the ultimate rock and roll
There
host.
was a prop bet floating around that I actually put just a little bit of money on. Will someone trip and fall on their way to the podium?
Almost.
And it doesn't happen. But there's every year someone kind of stumbles. So I'm like, that could happen. Elizabeth Banks, very close because
Yes, yeah.
I read the fine print. They got to fall to their knee in order to pay off.
He has to touch ground.
Yeah, she recovered fast
Got to go
enough.
Kaepernick.
I know, seriously. But Elizabeth Banks almost made that one pay off.
I texted, I didn't text, but we're trying to write these, there was a segment where Jimmy wrote, I need some like Tom Cruise looking so young at 60 jokes, And maybe I'll pull it up, find it tomorrow. But I wrote one which was like, Tom Cruise looks amazing, 60 years old. I didn't know Interview with a Vampire was a documentary or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But one I wrote Tom Cruise. Man, the guy's 60. He looks like he's 40. And Tom Brady, the guy's like 45. It looks like he's 30. What's with these Toms? You got Tom Sizemore. Oh, forget it.
Too soon.
Gee.
Yeah, so I knew he wasn't going to do it, but once in a while, I'll write him a joke that just goes, just for you.
Yeah. And I can't wait to hear those too, so we'll get those in the next show. Let's see. So also performances. So I loved the RRR performance.
Brought down the house.
Yeah. The dance. Did you see that at least? All the dancing. It's like probably the biggest production of the performances.
Oh, probably saw it. I could have been talking to Winfield.
A lot of people tune out during the performances.
I know they're not usually very good. I thought that was good. I thought Lenny's was good. I liked Lady Gaga's performance. Very casual.
She was courageous. She wasn't wearing makeup.
No makeup. Yeah, it was almost too casual. It was jarring how casual it looked.
Well, because she showed up to the thing in like a full-on gown,
right.
And now here she has changed into ripped jeans and a t-shirt.
She had to wash off her makeup, and then Rihanna's performance I thought was all right. Nothing. Care. Yeah, I mean she's just coming off of the big Super Bowl performance, so it's kind of interesting how she went on. And by the way, we have to talk about Thames. Right?
Who is what?
Thames is a Nigerian singer-songwriter who is also part of the Wakanda Forever soundtrack, and she was making a lot of waves too because she wore this beautiful white gown with this headdress on it. It's from La Verre Couture.
Please tell me you noticed this. This is something you would notice.
Yeah, so she had a headpiece wrapped on the back of her head. Well, here, let's just start.
This doesn't look as sharp, but show the audience.
Yeah, go to the next picture, guys. You just scroll through them here. So look at this. Everyone thought on the red carpet, this is stunning.
It is. It's beautiful.
It really isn't. But now, here's her sitting down.
She wore this the whole ceremony.
Oh, whoever sat behind her was screwed,
In fact,
right?
Here, let's go to Kimmel talking to Malala, because this is Kimmel trying to do a bit with one of the nominees.
She wore that the whole time.
You can see her in the background.
Oh, Jesus
and this
Christ.
bit's pretty great, too. So let's just watch it.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you here, and congratulations on your movie. This question is from Joanne Nicolaitis in Brooklyn, New York. She asks, your work on human rights and education for women and children is an inspiration. As the youngest Nobel Prize winner in history, I was wondering, do you think Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine?
I only talk about peace.
You know what? That's why you're Malala and nobody else is.
Handled it gracefully. Good job, Kimmel.
Funny, but
But anyway, so everybody's watching. So everybody's paying attention to Thames in the back, and every time they cut to the audience, stood out like a sore thumb, a big sore white thumb. And there's this really funny clip that's been going around too. You can see the girl behind her just peeking there,
like just trying to get a glimpse of the
what's
stage.
going on?
Oh, so brutal.
Now
that's inconsiderate, right? That's
wildly
crazy.
inconsiderate, and this. Well, I'm curious what you think, but I have said, and Brian even remembers, like since Loveline days, whenever I used to tell this to David Allen Greer all the time, I'd go, look, for every racist in this country, there's like 100 people bending over backwards not to seem racist and going the extra mile where they wouldn't have done it. If this was just some white bitch with that thing on, somebody would have fucking told her, hey, man, you got to take that shit off. Now, if the person behind her didn't say it, then somebody behind them or the person, an usher.
A director.
Somebody would have went, hey, baby, sorry, put it on your lap. You can put it back on during the commercial or you put it on when you leave. Like somebody would have tapped her on the shoulder. Now, the chick behind her is just this meek white chick who does not want to come across as anything other than the most accepting and tolerant ever. So she's not going to say it. I'm convinced if that was a white chick in front, that white chick behind her would have like tapped her on the shoulder and just said, hey, just put that down. But
that's great.
She's the Wakanda princess, and that's a fucking hate crime if you do that. And so it doesn't. But I'm just saying, there are a lot of these instances where people feel bad, don't want to be accused of anything, and actually don't say anything when they would.
My 1% version of that is I was going to tweet something about who is this crazed narcissist, and I'm like, what if she's like a really celebrated person and like I got a bunch of shit for this?
Yeah, well, I mean, and how do you not have that self-awareness that you're wearing this huge thing? Like the person behind you is not going to see anything.
But see, I think there's an element, and I've seen this a lot. Yeah, I was at the Lakers game and had the guy with the huge afro in front of me. I couldn't. But
at least that's
not as bad.
That was growing. It was growing from his head. But I also, yes. So how do you go into this event with that thing on your head and not realize that there's somebody sitting behind you?
Yeah. There are a couple of solutions here. Either make it removable or put like an LED screen behind that shows the broadcast.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, put an iPad back there.
I think there's an element of I dare somebody to tell me to take this thing off, which, Brian, your wife could not pull off. She would not enter with that kind of thing. It's the sort of Lori Lightfoot syndrome. Like you get caught, you got two good checks. You're black and you're lesbian, and then you get caught going to the salon when you've told everyone to lock down and shelter in place, and your answer is hey, man, I care about what I look like. That's an endangered species. I have no predators in the wild kind of answer.
Yep.
If you're a fat, redheaded guy with a wife, heterosexual, you got to go, I'm sorry, I understand. It's bad optics. It's not going to happen again. You don't go, fuck off. And I dare you, come at me, because I will play this fucking card if you come at me. I think there's an element of that.
I wouldn't be surprised. She was with impunity wearing that thing.
Every single time someone went after Lori Lightfoot, she was just like, fuck yourself. Like, she didn't even pretend. Right. Like, I think there's an element of if you have that status, you start thinking in different ways. It's a horrible way to go through society.
I went to a concert once, and there was a 6'9", 6'10" guy in the
Dave
front.
Winfield.
I know, might as well have been. And he knew every lyric to every song. He was having the time of his life. But people behind him were complaining that they couldn't see the stage. So a security guard actually tapped him and went, you got to go to the back.
Wow.
And he looked and he went, I understand. And just walked to the back.
The plight of the tall man.
Yeah, he understood.
The chick, somebody of Dave Winfield's stature should have swapped out the seat of the person. Just imagine you're going to, I don't know who the woman
put it on
was.
The end, on the angle, so no one's behind you.
Right.
I know. There could have been a let's just place you over here. Obviously, we're not addressing you in any of the jokes or anything. But I mean, she really stood out. Anytime they cut to that, even during the monologue, that's when I first noticed her, was in Kimmel's monologue. But
she made it 3.5 hours without anyone tapping her on the shoulder. Presumably,
I'm waiting for a comment.
It was removable.
Well, all of Twitter, everybody's been talking about her. Like, yeah, it's a pretty big.
The guy next to her is leaning over. I wonder, was she just sort of sitting? I mean, she wasn't really in general pop, right? She was with the celebs.
Oh, yeah. She was with the celebs, yeah,
for sure.
I mean, she's nominated.
She, by the way,
Florence Pugh in front of her.
She's taken out 3 people behind her. This is a ripple effect of 2 or 3 chairs behind, and then deep probably as well. You wouldn't even behind the woman behind her. We should start a GoFundMe page for the chick behind her.
I think so too.
Just to give her money.
Yeah, why not?
Reparations.
Buy her seat next year.
All right, what else? We got any other Oscar stories?
Oh, of course. So let's see. Oh, Hugh Grant.
Oh yeah.
Please, I missed this. So
okay,
I
so
hear what happened.
So Hugh Grant also got pulled, probably during the monologue, because he was giving a very, very short interview. Like he was short with the interviewer, right? So here's him talking to somebody in the pre-show, and she's asking him questions, trying to get answers about his outfit, about his appearance in Glass Onion, and everyone thought he was being a little curt.
What are you most excited to see tonight?
To see?
Yeah, well, I know that you probably watched a few of the movies. Are you excited to see anybody win? Do you have your hopes up for anyone?
No one in particular.
Okay, well, what are you wearing tonight then?
Just my suit.
Your suit? Who made your suit? You didn't make it.
I can't remember. My tailor.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to the tailor.
Yeah.
So tell me, what does it feel like to be in Glass Onion? It was such an amazing film. I really loved it. I love a thriller. How fun is it to shoot something like that?
Well, I'm barely in it. I'm in it for
I was
about
gonna
3
say.
seconds.
I had
yeah,
forgotten.
but still, you showed up and you had fun, right?
Almost.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was nice to talk to you.
Watch the body
All right,
language
back
here.
to you.
He's so ready
The-
to go.
These things are the most insipid interviews.
I know,
ever.
Great
go- they
use
go-
of yeah, but still.
Yeah,
They go
but still,
no.
yeah.
I mean, and he went to the Elliott Gould School of Interviewing.
Yes.
But it's just so everybody was talking about how rude he was and how,
please.
how
It
he just
wasn't
didn't want to be there.
bad.
I know, and I mean her questions really weren't anything either. But I thought his
You were in Glass Onion.
I know he was in it for
That was a
maybe 3
cameo,
seconds,
effectively.
Yeah. I did think his presentation was good when he presented.
missed
Andy
that. That's
McDowell.
what I missed.
So let's watch
So,
that. It's
okay.
it's good. It's a good joke. And and he was lovely.
He's with whom?
Andy McDowell.
Lovely to be here.
It is lovely. We're actually here to do 2 things. The first is to raise awareness about the vital importance of using a good moisturizer. Andy has been wearing one every day for the last 29 years. I've never used one in my life. Still stunning. Basically a scrotum.
So we got the word scrotum, man.
Sorry.
He gestured to her,
And he's-
gestured to him.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And he's very charming.
Yes.
So-
What an
Yeah.
underrated actor.
I agree. Listen, those red carpet things. Like, first off, I don't know. Asking straight middle-aged guys who you're wearing is sort of nuts because
Yeah.
they don't.
I don't have no idea.
They have no idea. It's just a tuxedo that their assistant got them.
Friar Tux.
Right. Yeah. They went to Gary's and they rented a tux. Number one. What is black ties? Is black tie mean tuxedo, or can it mean just black tie with a black suit?
I think a black tie with a black suit still suffices.
The tie itself, as I understand it, doesn't matter. It can be a bow tie or a tie. It describes, I think, the tuxedo suit. You can wear a tie with it, or you can wear the bow tie.
So if an invitation like Byron Allen says black tie, does that mean tuxedo?
I think it means black suit jacket, black tie.
I mean, don't get crazy with the suit.
Yeah.
But it means tuxedo first and or a black suit?
I think both of them are okay.
I think you can get away with it if you're Dave Winfield or Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
Just a regular suit.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, look it up. I'm curious.
Your
what
suit looked
the
really good.
actual-
That was probably the best suit I've ever seen you in.
Yeah, thank you. Men are requested to wear a tuxedo, but can opt for a dark suit. Ooh, not even black. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so that was my out. Do we have one more?
Yeah. Okay. So also everyone's talking about Morgan Freeman. So there were some weird interstitial segments. Like they did a Little Mermaid promo in the
That
middle.
was odd.
Yeah. Like I've never seen that.
But
Like did
Disney
just-
said, "Fuck you guys, we're putting this on."
Right.
So they did a Little Mermaid promo, and then they did like an ode to Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
And that was
under the auspices of introducing sound into a film.
Right. And by the way, a big theme for the entire Oscars was thanks to everybody for getting back into the theater, right? Like
Yeah.
bringing everybody back together, and everyone seemed to be happy about that. But Morgan Freeman introduced the Warner Brothers presentation with Margot Robbie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
and went to a commercial.
Yeah, well,
right?
Those all went to
Warner.
commercial.
No, went to a Warner Brothers
Yeah, but sorry,
package.
after that.
Then went to a commercial. Yeah, so they were weird, like weird bump outs to these things. But everyone's talking about that Morgan Freeman was wearing a black glove on his left hand.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to notice that when you have Margot Robbie on your elbow. But everyone's wondering what that was, so I'll just clear it up. In 2008, Morgan Freeman was in a serious car accident when his car flipped multiple times on a Mississippi highway.
We were on the radio at that point.
Yes.
It involved some extramarital situation. Do you remember that?
I remember.
Like he was riding with someone who was not his wife. There was a whole thing.
I remember.
It kind of went away.
There was a thing. Now, I remember the accident. I remember we're doing morning radio. I remember it was like in Louisiana or something like that. And I remember finding out that his wife was significantly younger or something. But there is a feminine component to the accident.
I remember this. To my memory, there was some scandal that kind of went away because everyone loves Morgan Freeman, and it just kind of all fell apart.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can figure that one out.
Well, so the accident, nearly fatal, left his hand paralyzed. They had to use the jaws of life to extract him from the vehicle. And so he suffered severe nerve damage and wears a compression glove to keep the blood flowing in his hand. So, and that's why he's wearing that glove. It's a elbow length glove.
Black glove fair.
There's a lot of. I wonder if it's infused with copper.
Probably.
A lot of copper being infused with
I know,
things.
you should sell a signature glove on all the stations.
Is anyone else suspicious about the fact that copper pennies are no longer in circulation, but they've now entered every glove that Brett Favre wears and every back support that Jerry Rice wears? I don't think it's a coincidence.
We need the copper.
Well, it's a precious commodity.
Yep.
People are pulling copper power lines and wires.
Yep. Pipes.
So now I haven't seen a penny in 6 years, but I have seen 1,000 commercials with Brett Favre.
That's a really good point.
I think that copper's been reclaimed and it's going into socks. All right.
That's a conspiracy theory I can get behind.
Yeah.
So
some other changes to the Oscars I noticed too.
Can we start Margot Robbie for another few minutes?
We can leave it up while we talk about
in
this.
2018, CNN reported 8 women accusing of Morgan Freeman for flirting, flirtatious behavior. What is that? First off, this is the problem with not being able to define anything anymore. If you are sitting on a set with a 28-year-old attractive woman and you're asking questions, it's technically flirting.
Yeah.
Now,
So you have a boyfriend? Flirting.
Yeah, right. So they say,
Are you in a relationship?
well,
Flirting.
yeah, and inevitably there's some comment that gets made where they go, "I've had a boyfriend for 2 years," and you go, "He's a lucky guy," and that's like now we've crossed some boundary somewhere. All right, is our guest here? By the way, no. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is right.
Sorry. Yeah, Paul Bryan's here.
You're welcome.
Also, there's another joke that I thought had some I don't know, it's an ode to you almost. Kim was talking to James Hong from Everything Everywhere All at Once. He was acknowledging because he's 94 years old.
He's been in 200 movies.
He's had like 650 movies and TV shows. Yeah, it's like 650 credits. So there he is. See everything Seinfeld.
300 days a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's Kimmel acknowledging him.
James is a legend. James has been in more than 650 movies and TV shows. He didn't even start acting professionally until he was 25 years old. Before that, he was a civil engineer who helped design the road system here in Los Angeles. And James, allow me to say you were one of our great living actors and one of our worst civil engineers.
Yeah, that was funny.
Good sport.
Unconscionable.
Yeah. No, I actually pitched. Remember, he said he did the Judd Hirsch things like 82. So I said we're gonna move up his category. I pitched he was gonna move up his category and move back the in memoriam.
Good, just in case.
Oh, it's a great joke.
I think he thought it was a little
morbid,
or whatever. But
I love it.
I thought that's the button for move up his category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of morbid, there's no clip for this. I didn't ask for it. I just thought of it. But Guillermo del Toro, they presented his award first, the one he won
Best
for
animation.
Pinocchio,
Yeah.
and he was already backstage or in the wings or something.
I was wondering that
I was
too.
wondering if he's in poor health.
I think so because he was kind of limping onto the stage, and it was. You were wondering why was he already waiting? Did he know he was going to win? But I bet they just queued him up there whether he was going
Just
to
in
win or
case,
not. Yeah, just so you don't have to walk as
He
far.
was also a heavy favorite too, so they
He
might have been
was,
like,
I
hey,
know.
Guillermo, come on, stay here.
Is Pinocchio awesome?
It's very good.
And is Puss in Boots awesome
Puss in
too?
Boots is legit great. I loved it. I see it twice.
Okay.
I cannot.
Puss in Boots is
stand-
great.
I hate it when they make a movie that I don't want to see, but it gets amazing reviews. Like Puss in Boots, it's 98% with critics
It's
and
so
99 with the people on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, I don't want to see that movie.
Minions, 97%.
Yes, I don't want to see it, but it's so incredibly reviewed.
I would recommend you skip Pinocchio only because it's it's stop motion animation. It's
classic.
remarkable. Yeah, it's a remarkable achievement. It's more of an adult Pinocchio. You know what I mean?
I know. I watched the first 20 minutes.
It's not
and
the
I was
whimsical
sad.
Pinocchio we all know and love. Whereas Puss in Boots is a fun movie, and it's streaming now on Peacock, I think,
All right, I shall.
or Paramount Plus. One of the
I
other.
shall watch. All right, let's do one more.
All right. So also just some other changes to the Oscars that I noticed. One, how long have they been doing the camera angles to where the camera looks like it's right in their face, like in the presenters?
That felt new.
Yeah, like to me too.
And what Ki Hoi Kwan, the best supporting winner, best supporting actor, short round. I mean, gosh, I love that guy. He's just so energetic. So
everyone loves him.
How can you not love him? So I'm curious to see where that goes. And he gave Harrison Ford a big old hug during the Best
His
Picture.
co-star.
I know,
Oh, really? Yeah.
And he acknowledged Steven Spielberg, Harrison Ford, who kind of brought him up because he has a crazy story.
Did he do the Kehoe? What?
Kihei Kwan?
Kihei Kwan. Give him a short round of applause joke.
That's good.
I know, but
I
I wish.
did that. That's good.
Yeah, because that was in the packet or whatever.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Yeah,
we got to look at this packet.
Yeah, I know.
yeah. See, all the jokes are solid. So I bet even the ones that barely made the or didn't make the cut
Were still good jokes.
Still would have been great. And then also the VO I thought was kind of interesting. Like when anybody would win an award, back in the day, it's like, oh, this is their first
Oscar.
Now we're hearing facts about their life, oh, he's been studying movies and inspired by Steven Spielberg, and since he was a little kid.
I prefer the sort of factual. This is their first Oscar. This is their second.
Oh, you do? You don't like?
I prefer the
I like that stuff too.
I thought it was kind of funny when Michelle Yeoh won Best Actress. They were like, oh, this is their first award. She actually has no formal training in martial arts, believe it or not. Like I thought, oh, why would you give that away?
Fun fact.
Yeah, that was her fact. She has no formal training in martial arts.
Back to In Memoriam. I don't, like when we're talking about Anne Heche and we're talking about Sizemore and stuff like that. Like, I feel the same way with whatever the hockey player, Bobby Hull. Any Bobby. Like, he's a 20-time All-Star and is in the NHL Hall of Fame. Troubling comments about Hitler in 1979. Like, he's a legend. He died. That's enough. If I want to go look him up, I'll go find his troubling comments.
Sure.
It doesn't need to be part of the ESPN. If you did 13 seconds on the guy dying. We don't need the troubling past part. And if you OD'd or you had a condition, I mean, Sizemore and Anne Heche had a disease, essentially, and self-medicated for it on and off successfully and unsuccessfully for a long time. To me, they still have a body of work.
Totally.
For Christ's sake, she was in Volcano, one of the Volcano movies. I just put them up there.
Yep.
And God knows, by the way, the 96-year-old publicist who died, 6 months ago, who we've never heard of, I bet was a horrible racist. It's just not. We didn't have Twitter. You know what I mean? That guy was like, I will not represent people of color. No, colored people. He probably said.
You're gonna edit past In Memoriam now.
There's no way this publicist, who was his prime was in the 50s, was not down with Jim Crow.
Had some thoughts on integration.
Right.
So you think they were purposely left out?
I don't know. Well, then there's the Paul Sorvino part. So I don't know how it works.
O.J. Simpson's the ultimate example, right? We still acknowledge that he was one of the all-time great running backs, won the Heisman Trophy, may have done some other things.
I thought you were talking about Naked Gun.
Dude, I love his role in it.
I'm just saying, I don't want to know. Just if they have a body of work, they are included.
Yeah.
And we could make a little more room if we need to with a publicist and or a studio exec.
Okay,
we could boot them.
So one, we should start taking bets on if Phil Spector is going to be in an In Memoriam.
Interesting.
I was.
And
I got a story for you guys.
Please.
Yeah.
We'll write that down.
And lastly, before we get to that too, do you think Robert Blake should have been included? Because Kimmel made that joke, and Robert Blake obviously not in the In Memoriam.
I'm glad you said that because I know a little about movies. I struggle to think of any movie Robert Blake is prominently in.
I guess he's more of a TV guy. Yeah.
Does anyone know a movie that Robert Blake, like you think of Robert Blake and he's in that movie?
He was in Truman Capote's.
But even if he was in one or two movies, like you get some people who you've never even heard of as like a publicity executive or something like that too.
He was in a huge movie with the Truman Capote story written In Cold Blood, or was it In Cold Blood or something? I think that's his claim to fame. We can figure it out, like from a million years ago. But it was a big thing. But yes, he's Beretta.
You would include him.
Sizemore was in huge notable Oscar-winning movies and was a great part of those.
Yes. All right, so then will Sizemore be in the next year? Should be.
I think he would.
I think he absolutely should. I think it's conveniently long enough that they're gonna forget.
All right. All right, so I got a story to tell, and I love it when things make sense. I love it when you go, but why? But why? But why? Like, I'm a pattern person. I like to look at patterns, and it's always sort of, but why? And this thing has haunted me for years. But I was able to settle it last weekend. All right, so I think what we should do is just take a break. I'm not sure where Jillian Michaels is, but we'll come back. Got thoughts on Phil Spector, and I'll tie it into the story. It reminded me. We'll do that right after this. Stamps.com. Love these guys. Man, we're already at the end of February here. Time is flying, especially if you're a business owner. You got to get Stamps.com. Stamps.com. Save time. You print postage right from your home or your office. Postage rates increase all the time, and they just went up again. Stamps.com automatically tells you the cheapest and fastest shipping options, plus rates you can't find anywhere else, up to 88% off USPS and UPS rates. I've used these guys for over 12 years. They've been with us since almost the beginning. Books, merch, it's all sent out through Stamps.com. And set up your business for success. Sign up. Use the promo code ADAM with a special offer. It'll include a 4-week trial, free postage, and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone, top of the page, and enter the code ADAM.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
Hey, Dr. John, your time for law, we be go company.
If you said Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom,
Hey, Dr. Jones, no time for love. We got company.
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
I love him.
All right, so there's this story that Phil Spector reminded me of. First off, I was sitting on an airplane listening to Phil Spector stuff. It was probably George Harrison stuff that Bill had produced, and then I was listening to, Tears of Clown and stuff, and I was like, he should have been allowed to kill 3 people for what he's contributed. I mean, let's be honest.
He's earned it.
My dad shouldn't be allowed to kill anybody, not even a cockroach, because he's not contributed to the greater good
The ledger
of our
is,
society.
Yeah, the ledger is uneven.
Yeah, well, let's go extreme. Somebody said, look, this person is going to cure cancer, but they get to kill somebody, not from cancer. And we're not going to convict them. Would you make that trade as a society? I'd go, yeah,
That's an equitable trade.
I'll take that one.
You'd be a fool not
Phil
to.
has brought so much joy to so many people over such a period of time
Just
that
the
he
Christmas
should
songs.
be able
Just the
to kill
holiday
just
songs.
at least one person.
Absolutely.
At least. So I signed off on that emotionally. And this is the beauty of being an atheist. You get to have these kinds of thoughts and sleep like a baby. So I'm a huge Phil Spector. Now, I know he's nuts. So then that reminded me of that famous story. So I went over on, I was in Vegas, and on Friday night, I went and visited my buddy Pete Brock. And Pete Brock is the guy who basically is credited for going to GM and inventing designing the most iconic Corvette, which is the split window vet, the most expensive, sought-after ones. And he was like 19 when he was at GM. Then he goes over to Shelby and Venice Beach and the whole movie. And it's funny, talking to old guys about people being portrayed in movies. I said to him, Ford v. Ferrari. He's like, ugh. I didn't get any of it right. And I said, but, God, the mechanic. what the hell's? Sorry, in that movie. In the movie, it was. I'll think of the guy's name, Phil Remington. Phil Remington. They called him Rem, but his name's Phil Remington. He was with Gurney at the end. I mean, he died, recently, but he was played by that actor, a kind of spindly, goofy guy.
Right.
He was the guy who was designing the brakes and drawing stuff out and stuff. That was Phil Remington. So like a master mechanic.
I like this character in the movie.
I did too, but I was like, Pete, Phil, you work with Phil Remington. He's like, ugh.
Oh.
Not bad portrayal. But you could see in the movie, when they'd be in Shelby's office, you could see in the background the plywood buck thing that they were building. They were building the Shelby Daytona. That's the car that Pete Brock built.
It's his opus.
That's his opus. Okay. And they built 6 of them. One was leading outright in Le Mans in 1964, but under rules has stalled, couldn't restart or whatever. Another one came in second overall, Le Mans, whatever. He was the guy who sort of designed it and thought, the Cobras are convertible. They're not slippery down the straightaway. We need aerodynamics. He found the old German or French papers about aerodynamics from the 30s, decided to do something crazy. Everyone thought he was a nut. Shelby said, I got no money. You got 2 months to build it. And he just built this aerodynamic body that was 20 miles an hour faster on the Mulsanne Straight, whatever. Turned out to be right about everything. Car went on to dominate, win everything, set all kinds of records. That car goes to Le Mans, comes in second overall in 1964, then comes back to the States, goes to the Salt Flats, and sets a whole bunch of land speed records, endurance records, blah, blah, blah. Then goes from the Salt Flats back to Shelby's shop, and Shelby's like, is anyone going to give me $3,500 for this car? And everyone's like, no, we are not. We're done. And we moved on to the GT40.
It's effectively
in the movie. There's nothing to do with this. So that car then ends up with Phil Spector. Phil Spector drives that car, loud and hot and everything else, gets a bunch of tickets.
Well, he drives it around.
He drives it around. He drives it to work.
He's a daily driver.
Phil Spector gets the car, which is, this is 1965, 66, we didn't have the stringent, rules and regulations. But those cars had, because of FIA rules, Le Mans rules, they had to have a spare tire, have working signals, working headlights, working brake lights. They had rules. And so it was maybe it needed a glove box or something. They have weird Le Mans rules, so that car was sort of street worthy, even though it was insanely loud and fast and hot and everything else. But Phil gets the car and paints on the side of it with a sign painter all the records that it holds in white paint on the side of the car. Then
he's eccentric.
Drives it around, gets a bunch of tickets, and ends up giving it to his security guard.
That's right.
Then his security guard dies and leaves it to his daughter. And it eventually ends up in the Simeon Museum. Dr. Simeon just died recently, and I went and saw it in the Simeon Museum. Now, so I'm sitting there with Pete Brock, and I'm saying to him, first, these cars had no value several years ago, and even 20 years ago, they weren't worth that much. I don't know, $2-3 million, but not now. They're $30 million. So Pete wishes he kept one for himself, but nobody wanted one back then. And I said to him, now here's what bothered me, and I was always stuck on this because I had heard the story. The story goes that the woman gets it from her dad, who's Phil Spector's security guy, and I guess he dies and just leaves it to her. She puts it in a garage in Alhambra, California, single family home, shuts the garage door, never opens it again. And at some point, years later, 20 years later, maybe more, word starts getting around. That car, where is that car? Because some were accounted for, but they only made 6 of them. and they're hand built and they had crazy history, and now Shelby's name on it. And they're like, where is that car? And somebody figured out where it was, and Carroll Shelby showed up himself, like knocked on the door. She wouldn't open the screen. Like she would not let Shelby in to try to buy that car because that was a crazy piece of Shelby history, and it's winning his car. It was the first car to win the manufacturer's championship for the United States, blah, blah, blah. So, but I say to Pete Brock, I say, so I don't get it, but eventually she does sell the car to this Simeon guy, the old woman. She's not even that old. She sells it to him and then goes out on a hike and sets herself on fire.
Crazy.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, I don't get it. Why did she not sell to Shelby and then she sold this other guy and then she set herself on fire? It doesn't make sense. And he said, no, she never sold it. Her mom sold it. She set herself on fire.
That's
and
why
then
you'd say
her
it.
mom sold it to Simeon. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
That makes
All
sense.
right, but why did this old middle-aged woman who I think worked for the post office or something in this house, in this small house with this $3 million car just sitting in the garage, how come she didn't sell it and like go to Hawaii or retire or something? I could never, like, why wouldn't you sell this car? It didn't really mean anything to her.
Why hold on to it?
Her dad was just given the car by Phil Spector, she didn't have money.
Sure.
So I was like, it always vexed me. Why not sell the car?
I
Why
love
not
her
sell the
asking
car?
Pete about this. 'cause
Pete,
she would
what
have
the fuck?
Insider info.
First thing out of my mouth, I went to his house in Vegas. I was like, I need to know. He goes, she had a horrible, contentious divorce. They probably argued over the value of the car, couldn't figure it out or whatever. And the stipulation was when the car sold, he gets half. And she's thinking to herself, this sack of shit
He's not
who has
getting it.
nothing to do with this car. My dad gave me this
It's my
car.
inheritance from
Right?
my dad.
dad gave me this car, and this cheating alcoholic guy who, whatever, when I sell it, I'm going to have to cut him a check for like $1.5 million, and I can't do it.
It was a spite keep.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, now it makes sense.
I know.
It immediately made sense to me that he could not do it. Yeah, there's a picture of the car
With the records emblazoned on the door.
Yes, that was pulled out of the garage somewhere out here. So it was nice because for 10 years I was like, sell the car, get your $3 million
Right.
and
I
go on
remember talking about
vacation.
this.
Or if it was like, even if it's like, well, sell the car, then you got to pay taxes or something like that. Yeah, I get it. But if you hate someone's guts who has nothing to do with this car,
Better keep that car in the garage.
and you know you're going to have to pay him $1 million when the car sells, then you go light yourself on fire.
Yeah. The lose was more powerful than the win for her.
Right, right.
She lost hard.
All right. No Jillian today. Scheduling mishap, but Brian will hang in.
Sorry about that.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll do the news right after this. Let me tell you about my friends over at Morgan & Morgan. Injuries suck, pain, hospital bills, missed days of work. It's the worst. And if you've been injured, hiring a lawyer could be the best decision you ever make. You might think hiring a lawyer is hard or confusing. Morgan & Morgan makes it super easy. Start a claim from your couch in about 6 clicks. If you don't want to call, that's okay. Just text with your lawyer. Easy. Best part is that it's free. You only pay if you win your case. So it'll be win-win. America's largest injury law firm, 900 lawyers, 100 offices, 24/7 customer service, over $15 billion recovered for clients. It is Morgan & Morgan. Right, Dawson?
All you have to do is dial pound law or go to forthepeople.com/Adam. That's pound law or forthepeople.com/Adam. That's pound law or forthepeople.com/Adam. This is a paid advertisement. in celebration of Jim Carolla's upcoming 92nd birthday. Here's a list of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Number 32. Used lineman dikes. Just one of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right, we got some news, Max Pata.
Yeah, so let's kick it off with news about Ja Morant. So you know who that is? He's like one of the new faces of the NBA, plays for the Grizzlies. So I got some basketball stories to start this off. So he got in trouble not that long ago for doing an Instagram live video and flashing a gun. Did you hear about that?
To my recollection, the gun was especially small.
It was
like a Derringer.
It was tiny. It was a noisy cricket, and he just flashed it onto the screen and put it up. But it was on Instagram live, so people are watching. People are watching this live, and the NBA decided to act. They're talking about suspending him. It was a big deal, and so now everyone's kind of. One, they're just saying, look, why are you doing that? Why are you flashing a gun? You're one of the young faces of the NBA. You do a lot of stuff with kids. You're giving your charities, all that stuff. Steven Adams, one of the NBA vets on his team, even
Australian.
Australian. He even had a meeting with the team like 1 or 2 days prior to this incident, going, "Hey, we got to stop going out and being idiots, guys." And everyone's like, he's directing that to Ja.
Yeah, right, Pops.
Right. He's like, come on, let's just focus on the task at hand here. So Ja flashes that, and everyone is talking about that. But now there are other things that are happening. So now the strip club that he was at, where he did the Instagram live video, they posted video and pictures of him, like secure surveillance video of his room. And it, according to
can they do that? I guess they can.
Well, you can, but should you? Is kind of the big answer, right? So our big question. So, they said that he spent at least $50,000 during his appearance at the strip club.
That's a man.
If you look at some of the pictures here, the entire floor of this private room is just covered in dollar bills. It looks like you know, when, like some of those restaurants have the peanuts on the floor.
Sure.
There's nowhere else to walk. So there's and everybody is now saying, look, yeah, he should be spent for the gun thing, but why are you putting pictures up of the strip club? Like, this is a private thing. He's getting like a lap dance.
Law.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the big question now.
So, and then I guess you're going to get into Kemp. Was it who?
Yeah, I'll get into Sean Kemp in a sec. So
Ja's gun was comically small. Like, I don't know if you have a picture of it, but the video I saw, it was like a Derringer.
He held it with like his thumb and an index
he's like
finger.
Where was he?
He was at a strip club in Colorado.
It's like, bro, this isn't doing what you think it's doing for you.
Why is he streaming or Instagramming or something from the strip club?
It's social media. You know, he was just dancing for the camera, and like he was maybe had a few views. Yeah. But at the same time, I actually think they said that he didn't drink. Like, so, but he's just young. He's known for the gritty. You know,
yeah.
Sure. So he's always on social media doing that stuff. His dad looks really young too. His dad looks like Usher. I don't know if you've seen him.
Probably is really young
on the court. He sits courtside for all the games, and he's become a celebrity.
No,
himself.
Chris, that's Usher.
Oh, that is
actually Usher.
I mean, could you imagine you guys, me, are all sort of old or soon to be old parents, but once in a while, like one of these guys, they knock up their high school girlfriend. The guy ends up being an NBA baller, and you're sitting in the fucking bleachers watching your bonus baby running up and down the court, and you're 39 and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could you, I am old now, but when I was like 39, I was like young. Like I was like a kid. Could you imagine just this kid's, he's just signed a deal for $122 million, and you're just sitting there in your perfect health, just watching this
prime of your life
workhorse run up and down the court. God damn.
I know. It's beautiful.
I know. Statistically, though, that dude knocking up the girlfriend, statistically.
May not end up in the NBA.
May not.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think Coca-Cola / Powerade dropped their endorsement of Ja because of the gun thing. I mean, yeah, so who knows what will happen with it. But Speaking of NBA players with guns, Sean Kemp also in the news.
They didn't
recently.
mind the strip club part, though, right?
No, I mean it's
Well,
no
so when
secret that NBA players
I was
go
gonna
to
say,
strip
you
clubs.
can't prevent that.
Like that's how James Harden picks his next team. It's who has the best strip club.
But it's no secret a lot of them have guns as well. Here's all I'm saying. 20 years ago, certainly 30 or 40 years ago, it would have been a bigger deal that he was in a strip club than with the gun.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't it controversial when Scores got busted, all the athletes that were going there? The Gold Room, whether that was in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Patrick
I'm just
Ewing
saying,
and all that shit.
if you went back to the 70s and you said this guy got in trouble because he had a gun and he was in a strip club, you would say he's in trouble because he was at the strip club, not with the gun.
Right.
Right.
And you don't even know if it was his gun or not. I mean, he just held it up for the screen and put it away. Like it literally was 1.5 seconds.
Could have been
if
his
that.
friend's pea shooter.
Could have been. Yeah, we don't know. I could have had that orange tip on it. So Sean Kemp, former Seattle
Rain Man.
superstar. Yeah. So he was just released from jail. So he was, first off, this is how it was reported. Sean Kemp involved in a drive-by shooting, right? And there's video of him outside of a mall parking lot, definitely shooting a gun at people.
Oh my.
Yeah, and look, I love Sean Kemp. I grew up watching him and Gary Payton, so it was a bummer to see all that. And but now his lawyers have released a statement, kind of explaining what happened. So I'll just read it to you. Quote, late Tuesday evening, Sean Kemp's vehicle was broken into and numerous items were stolen, including an iPhone. So on Thursday, Mr. Kemp tracked his iPhone to an occupied vehicle in a shopping mall parking lot in Tacoma. When he approached the vehicle in an attempt to retrieve the stolen property, individuals inside the vehicle shot at Mr. Kemp, who then returned fire in self-defense. There was not a drive-by shooting as previously reported, and Mr. Kemp's actions were reasonable and legally justified.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's film of him like standing 30 feet away from wherever, like shooting at a car or person or something, not really retreating, but
yeah, here it is.
And then there's film of him throwing his gun in the bushes when he drove away. So that's the problem.
So he was booked for investigation of felony drive-by shooting. Oh, here, you could hear some of those shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and imagine just walking down the parking lot and seeing. This is in Seattle. Like,
you're like, hey,
you're seeing
Rain Man.
Sean Kemp shooting a gun at people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's so he actually has a really successful cannabis business. In town. Like I'm curious to see what happens with that, but that's what they're saying. He's like, look, he tried to get his iPhone back, and they weren't happy with it.
Yeah, but maybe they shot first and he shot second, but he also dumped his gun in the bushes and then didn't call. Like, I don't know. My feeling is if you track your phone down, then you call the cops and the cops meet you at the place where the phone is. You don't get a pistol and show up to go get it. Although I like the frontier justice part of it, but yeah, he may be in trouble.
So NBA players with guns. All right, so let's move on to a Vegas story. So, and by the way, for those listening, since we released this episode a little early, please go back and listen to Adam's interview with Penn Jillette that we did in Vegas. It was beautiful. So speaking of magicians in Vegas, David Blaine.
It's funny. I was talking to August about Penn Jillette.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to adjust the screen, my screen and the big screen too as well. So we'll get into that in a second, or you can figure that one out. So Penn Jillette is he's just a certified genius. He's just the smartest guy in the world. And Penn Jillette's always been a great conversationalist, but I would say this interview was exceptionally good. And it's because Penn Jillette has always had the IQ and always had the information. It's always been there. But he had attitude as well because he was a younger dude and he didn't have a chip on his shoulder, but he had like energy with it. And Mike was like, well, why is he so great now? And I was like, because he still has the same intellect and the same information. And when dudes get older, they just turn it down.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the energy and the attitude, or they're not compensating or feeling like, I got to be the smartest or funniest guy in the room, or whatever that thing is. Men get much better when they get older. Women turn to shit. They go fucking batshit crazy. They get nuttier as they get older, and men get mellower. The Penn Jillette you saw in that Vegas room was a delight.
I loved him.
A delight.
Yeah.
Penn Jillette, traditionally, I wouldn't call him prickly, but he can be like,
Acerbic.
he can be a little acerbic. Like, you're going to have to kind of, you would, in the day, kind of be on your game. You said something stupid.
You'd spar with him.
Yeah, he would spar with him. You'd say something dumb. He would disagree with it. He would call it out. There's a little... Bill Maher's getting a lot more
Yeah. Jay Moore, Dane Cook.
That's right. These guys, these were guys that were sort of prickly guys who like to spar, and that was in their 30s and 40s. As they head into their 50s and through into their 60s, they keep all the good elements they had, minus the sort of prickliness, the attitude, or whatever, and they just become delights.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Yeah, I remember when we've had a few people who kind of fall under that category as guests, and you've told me that. Jay Moore, Dane Cook. Well, just people that who
mellow with it.
Yeah, Jeremy Piven, even people who
Piven's a good example.
Really notable for maybe being jerks when they were younger, and then Adam talks to him now, and Adam's like, they're a delight. And he told me those are my favorite people, like people who kind of figured it out and just became really nice, like.
They have to overcompensate.
Yeah, they overcompensate. Yeah, a little forgiveness tour, I guess, when you're doing press.
Yeah, but Penn was all the good qualities of Penn, minus any of the sparring, prickly baggage that came along with the old version of him.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a delightful conversation.
I agree. All right, so David Blaine.
He's another guy.
I know, he's another guy.
Yeah.
So he was performing in Vegas, and he was doing his show at the Resorts World, which is that new hotel on the Strip there. And toward the beginning, he jumped from a 9-story scaffolding structure within the theater into a foam pit.
Mm-hmm.
But then during the show, he starts complaining about pain a little bit, and people in the audience were wondering what's going on. And he expressed over his mic that he dislocated his shoulder.
Right.
And he's going to have to try to have crew members work on it live. So when it's David Blaine, you're always wondering, is this a bit?
Right.
Sure.
Well, the stagehands couldn't get it done. So then David Blaine decides to ask for any doctors in the crowd.
Wow.
And once again, people are still wondering, is this a bit? Because people came up and started doing this. But then people are tweeting, I don't think this is a bit, because this has been going on for like 7 minutes and he hasn't done anything. And there's actually video of these doctors on stage trying to pop his arm back in.
That's not good. What we're looking at is not good showmanship. This would not be a good bit.
No.
Yeah, so So they're actually working on him.
By the way, all right, this is my thing. This is Airplane Doctor. Dr. Drew loves this.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Dr. Jill Biden being Dr. Jill Biden and all the doctors that aren't actual doctors. If they say, is there a doctor in the house, that means you're a doctor. If there's a doctor on this flight, that means you're a doctor. Jill Biden does not get to stand up when he yells, is there a doctor in the house, because her doctoral is in, children's adolescent, learning or whatever the hell she's got.
Right. If you're in a flight with Joe Biden and Dr. Phil.
Yeah. That's right.
Are there dogs in here?
Julius Erving.
They would slouch in their chair like, oh, don't look at me.
That would be my fantasy, would be to have Jill Biden and Dr. Phil and anybody who abuses the term doctor who does not have any actual medical ability. I would love to just see them in all together on the same commercial flight. I would have my friend fake a heart attack, and then I would yell, is there a doctor on this flight? Is there a doctor on this flight? And I would look at him right in the face. I'd look at Dr. Phil and Jill Biden and go, Dr. Jill, Dr. Phil, is there a doctor on this flight? They just have to sit there and pretend they're eating their hummus.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right, so they
Oh, they popped his shoulder back in,
Oh,
and,
boy.
and he finished the show.
Wow.
So yeah, David Blaine. I mean, a lot of his illusions and tricks do involve some pretty physically demanding stuff. So badass. He finished the show.
Yes, shades of Mel Gibson from
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal
He'd
Weapon.
pop his shoulder back in.
Yeah,
That's
with
right.
the end of the tree or something. He just ran
I think
into
at
it.
one point he was underwater, maybe dislocated his shoulder, got out of a straitjacket.
Trying to get out of a straitjacket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As a guy's had his shoulder out, all the sympathy in the world. That is a painful process.
Popping
that shoulder
back in,
being
yeah.
out.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Rainn Wilson was trending over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a show, The Last of Us. I know Brian probably doesn't watch it. You don't watch TV. Adam doesn't watch it because it's based off a video game. I watched it. I loved it.
It's popular.
Yeah.
Is it zombie?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I'm fucked out with zombies. I hear it's good.
It's really about the people and how they react around the zombies.
Then I'm really out.
So Rainn tweeted this tweet, and everybody's been talking about it, and I'll just read it to you. Quote, I do think there is an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. As soon as the David character in The Last of Us started reading the Bible, I knew that he was going to be a horrific villain. Could there be a Bible-reading preacher on a show who's actually loving and kind?
That's a pretty decent point.
Yeah, and so everyone's been kind of commenting on that. I just want to hear your thoughts.
It's a storytelling trope, right? I mean, it's the priest who ends up being a child molester, or the teacher who ends up being evil. It's the
That's
dichotomy.
exactly what he was.
Yeah, it's the dichotomy between, you think one thing, it's a misdirect, and here's the other thing.
Well, I think what people complain about, which is it's the sort of heterosexual white, I don't know if the guy was white, religious guy. It's an easy, safe target. Sure. No one will get offended. You're not going to get any letter except from Rainn Wilson. And we can go about our lives. And if you made this guy Muslim or something, or there are other religions or other groups, then it ends up sort of coming back to the safe guy. It's the trope of the husband being the dope in the detergent commercial. It's like, they're not going to get any letters. But at a certain point, it's kind of fucked out. Like, there's no fucking way every husband is a dope who can't clean things or make food or do anything. Dawson?
How about Denzel in The Book of Eli?
Ooh. He was black. Still is, I think.
Blind? Was he blind in that one?
Yeah, and he had the Bible.
Yeah.
And he quoted the Bible.
I like when they turn the
So
trope
he was a
on
good
its
guy.
head,
but that was the last one I could think of.
Yeah, it's just an easy target, and I don't think
100%.
I don't think they are fond of organized religion either. So, well, not Christianity. Judeo-Christian stuff is they're not fans, but that's what creatives do. They push back against what was. Yeah.
But it would have to be a white guy because the brothers are pretty church going, and you can't make fun of them at church, right? It would have to be a white dude. It's not just Christianity.
The black church is celebrated. Yes, that's true. It's more the white evangelist type guy, but it's a trope. I get it. But yeah, I don't know.
A little lazy.
A little lazy.
Yeah, I'm with Brian. Turn it on its head.
Yeah.
There you go.
People.
What's Rainn Wilson? Is he very religious?
I've never known him.
I've never known him to be either.
Well, you went to lunch with him, and
they had dinner live on stage.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought, hadn't he found something? Was it somebody was saying to me that Rainn Wilson has become a Unitarian or something, or he believes in vegan rights or something?
Oh, he changed his name for a minute. I think it was just maybe it was in accordance with like PETA or something. I forget what it was, but he changed his name for a second too. I forget to what, but
Meatloaf.
Spare ribs.
I wonder if PETA hated Meatloaf or tried to recruit him.
That's right. The ultimate get.
That's right.
That's for your cause.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was for climate change, actually.
There's something, I just heard something crazy about Rainn Wilson. And why would he need to change his name for climate change? He's got rain
right there.
right in there.
He changed it to Rainfall Heat Wave Extreme Winter Wilson.
Makes sense. Is it snowing up by you when you're in La Cañada?
It's the hills very close by, yeah. Wilson's family are members of the Baja
Baha'i faith.
Baha'i faith. There's something. Somebody said something. So there's
I
something.
don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is once again my PSA to stop stealing catalytic converters because another man crushed to death.
Oh no!
While allegedly attempting to steal one in Georgia. So officers were called, and the man Matthew Eric Smith, 32, was found dead under a car, and evidence at the scene indicates that he was killed while attempting to illegally remove a catalytic converter from a vehicle. So
You're the car
more
guy.
and more
Is that,
people
an
these are dying.
is that an extra large catalytic converter, or is that it just falling on the right place, like his throat?
I think the whole car fell on it.
So you have to jack
I
up
thought
the
the catalytic
car.
converter itself. Okay.
No, you have to jack up the car and get under there and
That's
saw
okay.
the
That
thing
makes a
off.
lot more
and
sense.
He must have missed the jack point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just fell on him.
He was on top of a ladder trying to reach a book and fell off and died. And Brian's like, how much did that book weigh?
What book was
That was an unabridged dictionary.
Hardcover?
Yeah, it's the fall that gets you.
Okay.
I think it's the SUV you're under that takes you out. It's weird. Most people I
thought it
know
was like a tractor catalytic converter.
most people I know are against capital punishment.
Right.
The death sentence. They're against it for people that may have killed 3 people, but you get crushed by an SUV trying to rip off a catalytic converter. Like, good.
All for it.
That's
All
so
for it.
true.
And it's
Yeah.
like, why? How we have these same thoughts? Like the one guy did kill his mother-in-law, his father-in-law, and then just the guy, I guess, at the house that night. Just he stabbed them all.
And he wasn't Phil Spector.
You're definitely against that guy being put to death, but the dude who's stealing a $250, this is, by the way, this is petty theft in California.
He gets what he deserves.
I don't even know. It's like, frontier justice. Too bad. That's
You're
Darwin
so right.
taking the garbage out. It's
Everybody online just is like, good.
Good. This is almost a petty theft.
Yeah.
It's like saying
a misdemeanor.
the guy walking into the Walmart in San Francisco and stealing $980 worth of stuff. That guy should be killed.
You should have a car follow.
We should have a car crush him. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, another story of a death, untimely death.
Listen, here are the things everyone needs to focus on. These are the indicators. It has nothing to do, obviously, with Chris. It hit home because he got his stolen. Right. But it really is more of a societal thing. It's like when I was behind the fire truck or the ambulance or whatever the municipal truck was the other day, and it's like, we have a drop-free, no questions asked, like safety zone. Like if you don't want to raise your kid, just drop them here.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. We'll have one of those drawers the bank used to have with the drive-through. We'll just slide it out. You slide your kid in, pull it back. It's the barbed wire around the freeway signs. It is a indicator of the collapse of a society. Yeah. Is what I'm saying. It's sort of metal detectors in front of the schools, and these are signs. Needle exchanges. These are signs of a collapsing society that I try to tell people. It's that people go, oh, it's just about needle exchanging or dropping your kids off or catalytic converters or freeway signs with barbed wire. It's all a bigger picture of a collapse. You don't want to live in a city that has these things going in it. That's what I'm saying. And the leaders of that city should notice, should take notice that it's essentially, this is a $300 item. I don't know what they resell those things for. And we look for it. Is it a few?
Yeah.
They can well, they cost you a few thousand to get a new one, right?
No, I think they resell for a few grand too. Sorry, no, you're right. It cost me a few grand. I think they get like $600 a pop or something.
Yeah, this is essentially a part of your car that's worth $600, and people are risking their lives, firing up sawzalls, doing it in the middle of the night to get a chunk of your exhaust to then go fence it somewhere for $600. That's a bad societal sign. Catalytic converters have been on automobiles, and I don't know the modern version of it, but when we switch from leaded gas to unleaded gas, I think a lot of that had to do with switching to the catalytic converter. I don't think the catalytic converter works with the leaded gas. But either way, we've been doing this for 45 years. It only started 10 minutes ago. This Armageddon began just moments ago. The car, my dad's Buick when I was in high school had a catalytic converter on it, and nobody cared.
Since 2019, theft has skyrocketed 1,200%.
Oh.
Bad indicator. All right, let's bring her home. I want to give some plugs to Bald Bryan. The Film Vault.
Yeah.
Check that out. New episodes every Friday, wherever you find finer podcasts. Shrinkage to Book. He'll personally sign a copy to you. It's a great book. Bryan Bishop.com is where you go. For that, me, Naples, Florida, Off the Hook. I think one of the shows is sold out, but there's still some tickets left to the other shows. Maybe it's the early show Friday that's sold out. We'll check into it. March 24th, 25th, and Turlock, California coming up.
Turlock? Time in Turlock.
That'll be April 7th, and then Fresno, April 8th. It's go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Until next time, Adam Carolla for Bald Bryan and Chris Maxbata. Say it. Mahalo.